So I said I wasn't going to try and rage bait you, but I'm going to say things that might happen to rage bait you. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. There's a good chance. I'm going to let you start though before we let you get rage baited or not. But you watch this, I assume, not with a ton of happiness throughout the full 90. So what did you see? And we'll let you steer the conversation in that direction from there.
As soon as we gave away the first chance, I texted Grant and I said, we turn into idiots after going up a goal. And I don't want to say I've seen it so many times, but it's just like, if I looked at a chart with how many of your team's mistakes leads to opponents' goals, I swear to God, we would be number one in it. That's what it feels like when I watch us play. So I don't know. I think I'm trying to understand what my expectations are, I guess. I think this team is learning to play every 3 days, which I think is incredibly hard. As a fan, sometimes you just kind of want them to seem like they care for every second of however many minutes they play in that match. And I think sometimes you can kind of just forget how tiring that stuff is consistently. So I don't want to I'm not trying to make excuses, but I think part of it is they are tired emotionally from feeling like they have to win everything, that it's kind of getting to them in terms of they're making games way more complicated than they need to be consistently. And the margins are just so tight that emotionally going through that consistently, I think, is a negative. And today you go up a goal and then you just sloppy technically, sloppy psychologically, you kind of just concede to the momentum. So I think that's a bit of my frustration. And then on top of it, it's just, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, is the ball just moves really slow. Even when you're moving it side to side, you got to do it a little bit quicker. And I think the frustrating part is that you've seen it in moments, like Sunderland away the second half. I thought that was much better. Quick, what you needed to. You're taking some risk. You're playing down the middle. So for that, I don't know. It's just a lot of the same frustrations creeping back in. I don't necessarily think that means they'll bottle it. I just think they've got to be more comfortable playing with leads in games. And when you have an opportunity to go 11 points clear in the league, you make sure you take advantage of it. And we're playing with our food right now, and we're making it more complicated than it needs to be. So mentally, physically, everything by the end of the campaign, you might be dead when you could have been running away with it a little bit more, if that makes sense.
I think the point you're making, how they emotionally they're not there, I feel like it's because every game just feels like such a big event, right? Everything feels like game 7. And I feel like that's too many highs to when you lose and now you end up in the dumps. Now it's 2 points in your last 3 Premier League games. So I think in my head, that's kind of what it is for you guys. That you're making too much of all of these games because, like you said, they're chasing it. They have not been champions yet. So you kind of need that before you can really be comfortable in that situation, in these circumstances. But I also do think the attack, I thought Eze would be a lot more impactful, for a variety of reasons. Worked out so far, but he almost kind of seemed like that solution to low blocks, a big part of it, having some creativity. But like you said, they're just not playing the ball quick enough. I believe that's what led to the first goal. They could have played a ball further ahead, and instead it got played back to Saliba, who then Zubamendi, and then assists Mbumo's goal. But yeah, I think the cracks are definitely showing, but like I've been consistent on, the not much else is really behind them, kind of like what we talked about last year with Liverpool running away. So I did think they would be comfortably clear by now. But yeah, it's starting to get unsustainable now. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, they struggle with the ball. Not that they aren't controlling games, because I think there's a difference between controlling and dominating, if that makes sense. Mila, I feel like you
could control possession,
Yeah.
but
You have to do something with
is
it.
the corner.
No,
the
I've
threat
definitely
is the corner.
seen the worst
You're
of
not
it.
worried about them in open play.
What Grant's saying is is definitely a big issue, but I think it comes down to personnel, like you were saying, like 15 minutes ago, Dylan. Um, it's, to me, this is a byproduct of overhyping Odegaard. Because if he was De Bruyne level, that guy would be fucking making shit happen and making assists. And then we could say that's maybe because the lack of striker that's not putting away those chances. But I don't see Odegaard as that type of player to just make something out of nothing. And that's not me shitting on him. I do think he is a good player. It's just what he was compared to in De Bruyne. They're not the same player whatsoever. And to me, Arsenal's still lacking a creator. Right now, it's very one way. Saka is a good player, but they're just doing one thing with him. He's just spamming crosses. So if he's not going to create and Odegaard's not going to create, then where are the goals supposed to come from? And if Eze's not going to get minutes off the bench, where are the goals coming from? Madueke? Martinelli? Like I don't understand what is expected at this point when you put out the lineup that you put out, you build the team that you build. I don't know. This is just all kind of what I expected. Not to say that them being in first is what I expected, but these issues arise when teams are able to just sit back and defend for a little bit and you have nothing to spark something. And I think I've harped on it a lot with Cherokee's addition to City, but that's why I like him so much, is because when we are struggling, when we are passing the ball side to side, he's going to get the ball and attempt something. He's a dreamer, and I think every team kind of needs that to just spark something out of nothing, and Arsenal's missing that to me.
Can it be it's a mix of a lot of things, in my opinion. One, I think that the manager is a little too defensive. Like, I think that that's the default setting, is to pack it in, be physical, right? Like, that's what he's built this team to do, to Mila's point, is to be physical, to be combative, hit on corners, and control games. But there's a level of where I think the great teams have turned that into domination. Arteta kind of facilitates a level of like, let's just see this out a little bit. Like we won't just put it on teams because we don't need to do that. If we just hold possession, then we are in control of the ball. I think that leads to some other issues like getting hit on the counter or your players being too hyped in the moment. They make a mistake. But honestly, I to Mila's point about personnel, like there's a bit of like, is it Arteta because they are being too defensive? But also we're sitting here in the third straight year of Arsenal being in second, now in first, and I'm watching the same fucking lineup that I could have seen 2 years ago, right? Like Trossard, Jesus, and Saka is what Arsenal have been playing with for so long now that I could have told you that's not good enough. Facundo could have told me that wasn't good enough. And we're sitting here in 2026 and it's the same three guys. Regardless of if they're being direct or not, like either one, the manager doesn't trust the people that are getting him the players, or he doesn't trust his own standards that he's setting. And I don't really know where to go with that. Facundo, do you feel the same way?
I mean,
Go for it, Grant.
No, I was just going to say, I think you're right, Dylan. He built this team in his image, right? These are the players that he has wanted, but I also think you can't really teach an attacker how to. You can't help them make the right decision in the final third. I think to an extent it comes down to the players and the quality. There's just not enough there to break down. There's not enough. I thought Eze would really be the final touch, but incorrect.
I'm watching Eze play in a deeper role than I've ever seen him play. Against United, he was like super deep. And again, Crystal Palace, he was like always in the box. That's not his role.
Tucker's
That's
also
not
stinks. He's brutal. That doesn't help.
I just don't know if the recruitment's off. Like maybe in the summer, like Arteta, Facundo, you were kind of harping on this. Like he wanted Sesko. That was the guy, and they got him Gyökeres instead.
Yeah, I mean, I was of the opinion that if you weren't going to get Isak, you should get Julian Alvarez, and now we're just doing it 12 months later. I'll say something. So what I thought was uncharacteristic of the team is that you typically associate them with winning their duels and just things of like you run around and you do all that stuff. And I just felt like against United, other than Declan Rice and Timber, like nobody was winning anything.
Yeah.
So that's where it was a bit uncharacteristic, and you would have thought after halftime, it's like, no, we're nipping this in the bud, and they continue to do it. So there's that. I think comparing a player based off a former team to how he is in our team, I don't think you can make direct comparisons just because nobody plays us the way they play us. Like literally 10, 11 men behind the ball. Even against some of your other teams, they're more willing to admit that they can hurt you on the counter. Whereas I don't feel like teams feel that way about us. Maybe they're becoming a little bit more confident this year because we just seem to be getting played right through sometimes. But in general, like, yeah, I agree. I think Eze should be playing. I think you need a bit more creativity in this team. I think he should be playing where Trossard is playing, off the left. Does a lot of the same things, but is just a bit more athletic. And I think that you need that right now in the way that the league is transitioning to. My favorite player is Odegaard. How he played 2-3 years ago was unbelievable. I think I become a bit frustrated with him sometimes, but I just think him and Saka need help off the other side. Like they haven't been great, particularly Odegaard. I actually think Saka has been great. It's just like who is finishing these chances? Gyökeres. I mean, the guy gets played through on goal at the end of the game and can't even just lay it off 5 feet away from him to Eze. He somehow directs it in the opposite direction, 30 yards. So, yeah, I just think it's hard to expect anyone in the attacking line to get any sort of goal production when they've just looked completely inept in front of goal. But I don't think it's just a goal scoring problem. I think it's a lack of creativity and playing the ball quicker. And I don't know if that's Mikel, because clearly after half times they're willing to do it and play a bit quicker. It's just we waste 45 minutes is what it feels like every match. And then I think in the last 3 or 4 league games, I actually think he's gotten the starting lineup wrong in terms of who he's picking up front. Like you're playing United and you're picking 3 guys, minus like Saka, who occasionally make runs in behind, that want the ball to their feet. They're not willing to run in behind. But like the game plan from the start, we pressed the hell out of you. We were causing turnovers, just doing nothing with them. And like we were playing the game in the right areas, which is what we typically say of every Arsenal game. It's just, it wasn't enough. You're not doing enough when you're in those situations. It's not risky enough. And like you have to be in today's league. If you say you have the best defense in the world, then trust them to defend and let your attackers attack. But like, that's my feeling after this game. You know what I'm saying? And granted, it's the last couple of weeks. Like against Forest, you could say, okay, they created enough chances to maybe score a goal and get out of there 1-0. I agree it's not enough. Against Liverpool, you should probably put them to bed at home, and you don't. Again, not enough in my opinion. I don't know. We've had our slump. Just get over it and get back into form. Like that's all you can that's all you can do at this point.
You mentioned something in that last little bit there, and I've been pretty clear. Every single time you come on, I'm going to keep saying it, but it's a moments thing for me, right? Like, can Arsenal be good in the moments? And you mentioned how they weren't able to pick up the points that could have been 12 points clear, but instead you're now looking at a 4-point gap. And some of that comes down to what you were saying about just the team selection and where they're picking their moments. And